Ulonkata bati yada tó yẹ kó máa da ifá. Inú tó yẹ kó jẹun ló fi bí pa. Ọba tálá, ọba takuntakun. Ṣàngó, Èṣù, Ògún, Ọya, Ọ̀ṣun. Ìwọ ló ń bọ̀ nílé. Kí ni ṣẹ̀ṣẹ̀ tán ṣe nílé yìí o? Ó jẹ́ lọ jára rẹ̀.
Alafia, peace and blessings. Welcome to another episode of the African Spirituality Experience. I'm your host, Orisha Bami. Shout out to the tribe who was able to make it to the private community call yesterday and the Patreon. I'll definitely be getting the replay up tomorrow. And then shout out to everybody, the new subscribers, the new channel members, the new people who are new to the channel that's been checking in with us and tapping in with us, leaving the comments and the love and the support, man. I appreciate each and every single one of y'all. Shout out to I Am SCG who came through and held it down for us last night with the private community as well. And with that, without further ado, we got second time coming, the second coming of the modern day Angela Davis, also Asada Shakur, Sekhmet, whatever you want to call that warrior spirit in this thing, man. She's back. Miss Mariana, peace and blessings. What's good with you, Miss Mariana?
Peace. I'll take all of that. Yeah. Give it up.
Yeah.
Peace, family.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
How you doing?
I can't complain at all. Just moving, shaking, making things happen. That's right. About it.
Excellent. Sure.
How about yourself? It's been a little minute. It's been a good little minute.
It was, I think I was with you a couple months ago. I did some traveling and abroad and doing some work and serving community in other places and other spaces. And it was a good time. I'm happy to be here and be back in this space with you too.
Yes, sir. And I appreciate it. I share. And yeah, it's a great time. But it's also a lot of things going on in this time. So it's a lot of things to be grateful for. It's a lot of great things happening, but there's a lot of other BS that's going on and happening too. So I definitely feel like tonight's conversation is definitely it's well needed, and it's definitely something that I feel like I can't wait to attack it and to really, bring it to the forefront, because it's something that we all feel like should be taken serious, and we should be taking some sort of action with preparing ourselves, spiritually, like creating some sort of strategy to preserve ourselves and our families and our communities and our culture, because this is a time now where it's under attack. I feel like just as heavy, if not heavier than ever. You know what I mean? From historical standpoint to the current present standpoint to more love is trying to make things happen, to diminish things in the future. You know what I mean? So, we're looking at past, present, and future. So I couldn't have picked, or you couldn't have picked a better title for this show and the topic, man. So with that, what does spiritual strategy and physical preservation, like what does that mean for you, and what can that kind of encompass for the tribe that's listening, and how we can start this process of preparing for ourselves for preservation?
It's interesting because I've been teaching on this topic for almost 20 years now. And as much as I have been since a young child, my mother's had me going and seeing the top scholars, right? Some of the most prominent intellectual leaders, spiritual leaders, I've been exposed to many of them. But I think that it is time for us to shift with the times that are happening, because it's just appropriate. And that is safety awareness and crisis prevention. When we're talking about spiritual awareness and spiritual presence, sometimes we be getting so into the ether, right? Not to say no disrespect to the ancestors, no disrespect to the Most High. Like, we got to stay connected in that spiritual realm. But sometimes we forget about the level of responsibility we have for our physical bodies. And I think now with the shifts that's happening, it's so obvious that like safety is not something that we can kind of play around with anymore. And so, I think sometimes when folks look at like preppers, right, the prepper culture or the survivalist culture, people be lighting them up sometimes, you know what I'm saying? Because it seems so extreme. Don't seem so extreme now, does it?
Nah. Nope.
Don't seem so. It sounds like those people were preparing in a way that a lot of us sometimes we overcorrect, right? So sometimes because we're spiritually lacking, we go so hard in the paint for spirituality, but then we neglect other areas. Or sometimes maybe financially, we're lacking in those areas, so we commit our lives to that. But realistically, we need to be holistic in our approach. And one area that we're lacking in right now is safety awareness and crisis prevention, and making that actual pop culture. And so when I think about like our spiritual responsibility, even our ancestral obligation, right, to really, really hunkering down, those conspiracies ain't just fun and games anymore. It's not just a sci-fi movie that we're watching and it's entertainment. They charge us $20. We buy our popcorn and we go. Like right now, you turn on TV. This is not a thriller movie, right? And so I know some people would kind of resist the idea because we like to say things like, and I believe it, I'm blessed and protected, right? I'm divinely protected. Absolutely. But I still have a responsibility to this flesh, to my family, and to my, closer inner circle in my community. I can't save everybody. I do have a Harriet Tubman spirit, but I first have to put things in place. And so that's, actually one of the first topics I started doing lectures and workshops on was safety awareness and crisis prevention. I would get hired by the local utility companies here in California to do those kind of things. So I'm not new to this. I'm true to this. And it's always been the undertone, right? So there's a lot of emphasis right now on like emotional safety, right? You don't make me feel safe. This is not a safe space. I get it. But again, we overcorrect sometimes. The world is not a safe place. The wild is not a safe place. It is our job to really, really look at what needs to be put in place so that we feel an agency of power. And when we tap into that agency of power, we operate with confidence. And so I'm just, I got a children's book on safety. It's a coloring book, a workbook. We'll talk about that. But really my life and most of my studies have been and teachings have been always connected and tethered to the importance of safety awareness and crisis prevention.
I sure. No, I love it. And it's funny because I remember when SCG first was introducing us, and she sent me your page to check out your channel and check out your IG and all that. And I was looking at it, and I was thoroughly impressed because I saw the community work, and that's kind of like I got my start, with speaking as well. It's like in the community, in the schools and in the community centers, in churches, and a lot of different areas where we needed community work. And it's like one of the things that I learned actually just last year with one of the projects I was working on with some youth, young brothers who was like in the system. And I had to go through like crisis prevention and a whole lot of different trainings, that I would feel like most of the law enforcement and maybe people in the medical field would have to go through in order to know how to deal with certain situations when you have a lockdown, when you have an active shooter, when you have, all these different types of things, bomb threats, all these things that are real life situations right now, here and now, like Luther, here and now. Like Luther said, what I'm saying?
To love faithfully.
Yes. And look, we promised to teach faithfully.
Teaching is love. You know what I'm saying? You love your best teacher. Your first teacher is your mama. So, teaching and workshopping has to be the way that we grow through this. And I know it's depressing. I know a lot of people are struggling with it. But that's why, like, the last 7-8 years of my life, I committed to doing one-on coaching for mental health and what I call emotional hygiene. But now, we at a place right now where if you haven't done the inner child work, if you haven't done at least 50% of the shadow work, if you haven't made that focus, you're going to be real wavy out here and frustrated because you don't know how to manage your emotion to get through crisis. And one of the number one things is when you're in when a crisis is, on sets, it really is your ability to have control. And I think a lot of people right now, it's actually popular to be sassy. It's popular to be unhinged. It's popular to be wild and reactive. And there's a reason why so much social engineering has been placed around making it to be acceptable and actually to be rewarded through social media through this sporadic out of controlness, when that is literally the opposite that we need to have to withstand the new world order that is upon us right now.
Yes, no, that's facts. That's big facts. And it's funny because I always give gratitude and thanks for the growth. My spiritual journey has kind of transformed me because as a younger person, I didn't know how to have control. I didn't know how to control my anger, my rage, my emotions. You know what I'm saying? I didn't know any of that. So it's like whenever that hit and it rose up, shit just hit the fan. You know what I'm saying? That's when fights will happen and, all kind of crazy stuff. I'm talking about wild stuff, but it's like because I had nowhere. Honestly, I don't even think I had no desire to want to control it. I think I had got so accustomed to that rage just kind of breaking loose and doing what it do that it was just like, okay, just don't push me this day because I don't, but now in hindsight, I'm so grateful for like being able to have that emotional intelligence because it's a very, very needed and very, very mandatory, I feel like, skill set right now at this day and age, in this day and time, because there's certain things that are going on, I feel like, specifically and intentionally to push your buttons and try to get you to fly off the rocker and F something up. So it's like, we can't allow the system, and we can't allow the puppets, you know what I'm saying, to create the narrative where it really has an effect over us, to give, you know what I'm saying, that authority, to give our power away. One thing I always tell the youth is, like, nobody can take your power from you. You can give it to somebody, but they can't take it from you. It's only up to you if you decide to give your power away. And I feel like that's where we are now.
Yeah. And you know, even the most skilled warrior has to be disciplined and has to be able to be quiet. Like ninjas you don't know when they're coming and going. They'll jack you up. And it's not until they're out that you realize you've been taken. So I think and give thanks to the Shango energy, giving thanks to the warrior spirits of the planet, whether that's a physical warrior in your fighting, whether you're an educational warrior, whether you're a warrior in the fact of healing or nurturing, like just giving big love and sending up like real strong, super bionic energy, because there's going to be a time where warriors have to rest, and there have to be people in place that nurture them and care for them too. I think there's a difference between being unhinged because you're reactive and angry versus being a warrior who is skilled and knows when to turn on certain chakras in order to activate what's necessary. But even a sharpshooter has to be very, very skilled, right? Very quiet, very focused. There's nothing unhinged about being a warrior at all until it's time to do what it do. And so I just want to give a special shout out to the members in your community, the members in my community who are warriors by birthright, right? Unapologetically, but also warriors who understand the power of refining what that energy means and being in control and not being reactive. So giving thanks for the warrior spirit today.
Yes, sir. Yeah, that's facts. And that's powerful too, because you know, it's a real thing. And there's a book, I believe his name is Daniel Coleman. It's called is it Emotional Intelligence? I think it's called Emotional Intelligence.
I believe so.
Very powerful book. Very, very powerful book. And that book helped me out tremendously with my journey, you know, of healing and learning discipline, like with keeping my emotions in check. Because one thing I learned too is like emotional intelligence, like emotions, you know, we break it down phonetically, it's energy in motion. Right. So I always, especially when I'm speaking to the youth, I'm always like, if you allow your energy to go in motion when it's a chaotic, destructive energy, what do you think will happen? It's going to be chaotic and shit going to get destroyed. But if you can learn how to control it and not like allow yourself to be emotionally hijacked, now you can then become, like you said, that Zen warrior, that Zen ninja, to where you have the control over yourself. And most times when you have control over yourself, you have control over your room, your atmosphere, your environment, et cetera, et cetera. So it's a good thing that, you know, we definitely got to work on.
And you know, if we really pull it back though, I think emotional intelligence, I hear that phrase a lot and I understand it, but I really try to always bring into the conversation and put a lot of emphasis on emotional hygiene. Because you can have emotional intelligence, but if you funky all the time and you're not purging and cleansing, you carrying that stench and that funk with you, you don't even need an enemy to attack you. You'll become your own enemy, right? You be smelling yourself and getting offended and blaming it on everybody else or projecting. So, you know, I really want to make sure that, you know, those cousins, spiritual, you know, right? Like that emotional intelligence and emotional hygiene, they function in different ways, but they're necessary so that when the emotions are introduced that are mature, you know, when we have those mature moments and we're emotionally intelligent and we don't owned our shit and cleaned our stuff up before we showed up, we be on point. Like we really have no issues with confidence or our ability to execute. So, you know, in relation to safety awareness and crisis prevention, I think it's really important for people to realize, like, if you're feeling anxious right now, because I know I've had those moments, I'm not above doing this work. So a lot of the times, you know, when you get people in leadership, people tend to think we don't feel these feelings. No, we got to manage through them, and we may have more tools. But when we feel this anxiety rising up, a lot of the time anxiety is because you don't know what your assignment is. It's not even always that you're scared, right? They've convinced us that anxiety is like always have to be connected to fear. And there are times when I feel that and I have to manage it and work through it and then use my conduit to change that energy. But also a lot of the times anxiety is because we don't know our assignment. We don't know what we're supposed to be doing. And so when we don't know what we're supposed to be doing and we twiddling our thumbs and then we see things happening on the outside world that can impact us, we get anxious. And I think one of the biggest things that people could do right now to deal with that energy, because anxiety is an energy. It's actually a very strong, like a very, very strong energy, right? And
Yeah.
so if you learn how to channel that and put a harness on that, you can really, really do some serious things with the issue of anxiety. And so I know for me, the best way for me to shapeshift how anxiety may show up, whether I'm conscious of it or unconscious of it, is what is my assignment? Because when I'm focused on my assignment, I'm not really tripping on what everybody is or isn't doing. I'm so locked in that a lot of that anxious energy gets put somewhere.
Yeah.
So I think that that's something that we need to look at, is understanding in our families, in our households, in our workplaces, what is your role? Are you a demonstrator? Are you a communicator? Are you a nurturer? You know, what is your role in a crisis? You can't do everything. So when you're focusing on your assignment, and you know what you're supposed to do, even when chaos is happening, you're using that energy for something that's productive, as opposed to it mixing in with some of that funky emotional hygiene, mix it in with some of that, you know, regress behavior, and then you're part of the problem at that point.
Yeah, no, that's real. And anxiety, man, like that's a real thing too, because if you let's just say, you know, you've heard of people having anxiety attacks, you could easily have that turn into like an asthma attack, or you know what I'm saying? Like it's a whole lot of other ways.
It could be a seizure.
Yes, it's a lot of ways that can go left. So it's definitely something that we got to work on. So when it comes to that, and I know you do a lot of inner work, and especially when you're dealing with the people that you serve and the people who you teach, when it comes to eliminating these emotional hygiene moments where it gets funked up, or eliminating these emotional hijackings, or eliminating these anxiety attacks, or just even these displays of reacting, you know, to whatever's happening. What are some of the tools that you would share with the tribe in regards to like kind of making that something that's tangible that we all could do to make sure that we keep the composure and keep the discipline and keep control over ourselves and our environments?
Okay, I'm gonna answer that on multiple levels. On a real deal level, in terms of the tool that I created, I wrote a workbook called Own Your Shit. It's available on my website, which is missmarianna.today. It's not long, it's 50 pages, but it helps you to really zone in and then zone out on what the cause, the effect, and what the symptoms are of your personal behavior. Because sometimes we be on YouTube and we're Googling things and we're finding the definitions of things. Oh, I know what a narcissist is. You're gaslighting me. But when it comes to actually recognizing some of those behaviors in ourselves, it's difficult to do. It's not enough to just say a man and a woman when you hear it on a podcast. It really is making sure you sit down. And so sometimes people want to journal. But like I say, a lot of times, you know, you go to the dollar store, you get your journal, you light your candle, then you just staring at the blank pages and you start writing poetry. Poetry is cool. I'm a poet, but we're talking about making sure that you have prompts, you have charts, you have graphs, things to where you can do your own self-assessment and be your own doctor sometimes. Sometimes we need other people to be our doctors, but sometimes we need to do our own check-in and check-up. So that's number one. You can get that tool on my website. Number two, and actually one of the sisters in your community, from the last time I came here, she booked a session. So I do something called refresh sessions. And these are one-on-one coaching sessions that you can do through Zoom. I've literally have clients all over the world that I've served. And that's when you want to take that Own Your Shit workbook to the next level and have someone with that loving auntie, mama, professional coach energy that you need to really recognize it without the guilt, without the shame, so that you can look at like, okay, these are the areas where I'm glitching. These are the areas where I'm short circuiting. And then I help you to customize some tools and some practices in order to do that. I think lastly, if you don't want to do, I could refer everybody else, but I'm always going to refer me. I got to be my biggest cheerleader, right?
I know that's
if I'm
right.
not the avenue, I know I'm not the only one, and it's about finding the right fit, right? I think lastly, what I would recommend for people to do is, this is an exercise. So whether you buy my workbook, whether you book me for a coaching session, one exercise that's really good to do is a trauma timeline. And a trauma timeline is not to like freak yourself out, right? This is something that I do with all new clients. It's not to freak yourself out and overwhelm yourself. It really is to do your historical timeline. Just like you would read a book, right? Remember in history class, and you see the bullets and okay, this year this happened, and there's a couple of sublines, and okay, here's another bullet on the timeline. Do that for 5 years old, 10 years old, 15, 20, all the way to your current age, and write down the biggest impactful things that happen, either good or bad, at that time of your development. When you do this type of exercise, you don't dramatize it like you do when you're telling your boo thing or your best friend the same sob story. What it is you're creating a memoir. So it serves two purposes. one purpose is you can go and recognize the glitch. Wow, this happened when I was 4. No wonder why I have anxious attachment, right? My daddy didn't come home one day. Or wow, this happened when I was 16. No wonder why I have issues with sexuality or promiscuity. You can look at it a very matter-of-fact way so that you can see when those behaviors and tendencies pop up in your everyday actions, words, and decision making. You now have this timeline that could pop up like, oh, you reverting back to 1977. You reverting back to 1993. This is the result, right? You can see it because we have to look at ourselves like historical facts. The second way that this helps not only you, but this exercise helps your future generation, because now this trauma timeline and also victory timeline turns into your memoir that you can write. The reason why we learned so much about our ancestors, like a Frederick Douglass, is he was writing his memoirs constantly. We don't write memoirs. We do posts. We take pictures. We take videos, but there is nothing like the written word and us writing our own story. So once you do this trauma timeline, it serves you in the moment to decompress, to be able to identify where some of that anxiety may be coming from. That's not immediate, but from the past. Now, boom, we clear the hard drive of that. Right? When you clear the hard drive and you understand why things are functioning on the first 20, 30, 40 years of your life, now you got more room and space to get into that self-preservation mode, to then use the energy that you fried and all upset and angry and depressed about over those old issues. Now you got some room to deal with what's going on and what some of the ancestors, right, and some of our Rastaman would say, Babylon fallen. Now you got energy. A lot of us is burnt out because we didn't clear the hard drive. We still holding on to what our mamas and their daddies didn't know what to do, didn't know how to do. Yes, they did the best, but we still mad about it. We ain't got no time to be mad at things that happened 30 years ago. Extract the lesson and move forward. So I give this tool to you and your listeners to just, even if you've done this with a therapist, go back, because you might recognize some areas where you can clear some hard drive, acknowledge the glitch, get over it, stop allowing it to be your identity, and then you can get to packing these safety bags with me, right? Doing these emergency escape routes and plans that you need to have for your children, for your big mamas, for your big daddies, and really get into this survivalist, which is just really nature culture. Like survivalist culture, you ain't got to be some crazy ex-vet or something. You just got to be a person that learns how to work with nature. You just got to be a person that knows how to go camping. That's it. If you know how to go camping, you be okay, because there's no Target, there's no running to Walmart, there's no running to the dollar store. You got what you got. And so when you go camping, you always preserve and bring the things that you know I know I need flossers, bruh. I need flossers. If I get food in my teeth and I ain't got no floss, I'm going to turn into a wild lion and I'm going to tear everybody's face off. So in all my safety bags, I got flossers. Don't get me wrong. I got all the things, but I also have some of those small things that can keep me sane and comfortable. So that's me kind of segueing over to more of our survivalist conversation. But that's my reflection and what's on my heart and mind when you ask me, what can a person do to relieve some of this anxiety? You've got to own your shit. You got to look at where the glitches are. You've got to release them if you want enough mental, emotional, and spiritual energy to withstand some of the longevity that we're going to have to hold out for future generations right now.
Yes, sir. No, that's facts. And what's dope about that is, as I was listening to your answer, I always have a lot of thoughts spinning in my head on where I'm gonna go with the next question. But you said a lot, and you definitely shared a lot.
I do be saying a lot. I be saying a lot.
No, but I be listening to everything. I be picking and choosing like where I'm gonna pick up and where I'm gonna go with it. But when it comes to like that sanity, I'm like that with the teeth too. I got to keep floss in the car, in my bag, my business bag, in the room. Like,
you don't want to see auntie do like. I'll go. When you see auntie do like this, she gonna get an attitude. She gonna get a
get me all riled up. And, I be getting all snarky and stuff, man. So I know. But it's funny that you say that too about the trauma timeline, because I learned a lot while writing my first book about how like a lot of that anger and all that stuff came from, because I had to travel back in time to my childhood to write about it. I'm like, oh shit.
You got to get in that spaceship and time travel.
Yeah, that's real. And I remember like doing exercise with some of my clients, because like I do consulting too, and a lot of it I would mix like life coaching with business consulting, with entrepreneurs, because we got to have our, like you said, we got to have our mind right and our spirit right in order to do anything right. So it's like for me, I had an exercise called "Let That Shit Go." And it's kind of like, what I'm saying, all the things that you're holding on to, that baggage from the past, you got to let that shit go, because what is it doing? You can't go back and live in that past. And if you could do it, please go back and show me how, you did it when you get back. Yes, sir. That's a real thing, man. For
Keep
real.
going. I
That's a
know
real thing.
nobody ever told you how to not hold on to
Hey.
issues,
Hey.
issues,
Hey.
issues. Erica did that.
Yep, and people still holding on to that. So look, you gotta let them bags go and let that shit go, folks.
And you know what? I'm gonna say something a little bit wild too. You gotta get over your anger towards a white man.
Yeah.
Because that's debilitating too.
Yeah.
Didn't nobody say you shouldn't defend yourself? But if you so mad that you can't control yourself because any white person could say something or do something,
right?
If they ain't coming up on you and they ain't doing nothing to where you physical harm, if somebody could say something and have you mad for a month, if a white person could come in and just say the word nigger and that just throws us all off and we just got to whoop butt. And you know what I'm saying? Like, don't get me wrong. I understand the warrior spirit and I gave thanks and praises for that. But again, there's a difference between a trained, skilled warrior spirit and an unhinged person. Because right now, that energy, when we're looking at white people or people with white supremacist attitudes, because it's not just white people that is some all skin folk and kinfolk, right? But if it's to the point where anybody could just say something and instantly they have control over how you feel, over what you're doing, that shit is played out. Like that's not Black power. That's not Black power. There's Black protection, right? But being overly excited anytime someone wants to play that trickery on you to get you emotionally angry. Anger debilitates you. It stops you. Stop breathing. Once you stop breathing, the heart's palpitating. Once the heart palpitating, your brain is on fry, and then all that old stuff that you haven't cleared starts seeping in. You don't have no control. And that's one thing that I always say is sometimes everybody wants the machete, but they don't realize if you don't have emotional control, you'll chop your own head off. And I say that all the time because some of our most valuable warriors do not learn the skill set of not allowing every little thing that's said to you. Really? That's what we're going to be fighting for? We're going to be fighting because somebody said something? No, we need to be fighting with the grass out there and cutting it down with that machete. We need to be planting some seeds. We need to be bartering some food. We need to be preparing to become one with nature like a master camper so that you can't keep fighting with the oppressor and the people that you're dependent on. So at some point, all that anger that we put towards being angry at the man, angry at the system, they ain't giving us Oscars awards, like all this anger, us being an expectation of people that never built anything for us, but we gonna still stay mad. They gonna call us nigger, and that's always gonna be what gets us jacked up. We got a long way to go if that's what it is that gets all of our energy from focused on getting these safety plans and getting back into the survival nature spirit of this whole situation. For sure.
No, that's big facts. And it's funny is like what goes along with that the exercise I was talking about let that shit go is doing a SWOT analysis. And I know you know about that because you're in business and you're saying the
break it all the way down.
The strengths, the weaknesses, the obstacles, and the threats. Like
you gotta break it down.
So that the SWOT analysis is powerful. Like that within itself to me is almost like giving yourself a self-examination. Like every we go to the doctors, like I always break that down with people who are divination clients. Like the very first time, there's a set of prerequisite questions I'm gonna ask just to make sure I know who and what I'm dealing with. So I'm like, I equate it to it's like when you go to the doctors. I don't care if you go to a walk-in clinic, they're not gonna do anything before they give you that little checklist. You got to sign off. Have you done this? Have you had that? So da. Because they need to get some sort of background information to see what they're dealing with you when they try to treat you. And I feel like that's what we can do with the SWOT analysis for those who are in the Reiki game or who know Reiki and all that. The way you would heal yourself with a Reiki session or give yourself Reiki to heal yourself is the same way I feel like a SWOT analysis we can give to kind of work on healing ourselves from the trauma, from the, all the different adversities and things that we've been through, and then building on the strengths, and then eliminating the weaknesses, and then being clear on how we're going to deal with those obstacles, and then how can we eliminate or neutralize those threats. And then when we can do that,
that's how we understand the assignment. That's the way you clear the way to understand the assignment. Once you understand your strengths, once you understand your weaknesses, you know what to volunteer for, you know what not to. You know what you have the ability to do and execute in a short amount of time under pressure. And look, there's certain things I don't want to do. I don't want to do that. I'm not good at that. I don't want to be in everybody's lane. I don't need to be the universal revolutionary. I need to be focused on what my job is. Once I lock that in, then I can move to the next thing and I have credibility, right? A lot of the time people want to see you master one thing. If you're a jack of all trades and they don't know that they can depend on you in a crisis, people ain't going to listen to your leadership. But if you know for a fact you've earned that good understanding through mastery and you can teach it, you can document it, you can, demonstrate it. That is when you're getting to a level of mastery where you don't even have to think about it. You're just in the flow. And we need to take a lot of our, so this is my thing. Let me say this. This is my new thing. Everybody's like, what? Let me let you know. This is my new thing. Everybody's like, Miss Mariana, what do I have to do to start being safety minded? What do I have to do to, I've been seeing you for 5, 10, 15, 11 years, and you've been talking about safety, and I've been patting you on the head, and it's cute, but I ain't packed not a Nair safety bag. I don't have a safety plan. I don't have an exit plan. I don't have nothing. Okay, this is where you start. This is the mental shift that you're going to take to get yourself into the safety mindset as an obligation, ancestral obligation, but also a personal obligation to yourself and your community. Replace I want to be sexy. Replace I want to be sexy with safety, right? Replace sexy with safety. Everybody know how to be sexy. Everybody want to be sexy. Everybody paying to be sexy. Replace sexy with safety. And if we make it just as popular to learn about safety culture, to take safety classes, to be a safety representative, to be a safety advocate, just as much as we get our hair done, our nails done, get our skin done, get our teeth done, get our feet done. If we put 25% of that energy that we put into being sexy, to being found attractive, to maintaining looking young, to being physically fit. Because, bruh, if y'all got all the muscles, but you don't know how to run for safety, that you're going to have us jacked up. We're just going to be looking at you fine and sexy, and we don't know what else. You don't know what to do with them muscles when you got to haul some logs across the field, right? Like, it has to be more than just being sexy for the lowest vibrational receiving of an orgasm, right? And nothing says I love you more than being safe. Nothing says I love you more than somebody saying, hey, I didn't get you a Fendi bag. I made you a big $500 safety bag. That's the kind of brothers that women of substance are going to be looking for in the future. Who can keep me safe? Not just emotionally. I could do that. I've been owning my shit. I've been refreshing myself. I can work through that. But do you know how to build something? Do you know how to construct something? Because those are the things based off of our income that we have in the hood. Those are the things that's going to be necessary to survive. So sisters, the same thing when it comes to always wanting to be sexy all the time, right? Replace that with making sure you're buying safety guards. Some of us got all the makeup kits in the world, but we ain't got a safety kit in our house. We don't have a what's the thing? A fire extinguisher.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So when I say replace the word sexy with safety, put at least half the amount of energy that you put into that, and you'll find it. When you want the right makeup, you'll look it up and Google it. When you want the right club, you'll look it up and find it. Safety is all around us. There's classes, there's workshops, there's gurus, there's all kind of people into it. But that's my new thing. If you're not as safe as you are sexy, you ain't fine at all. If I see you 4 or 5 years in a row, hey sis, how you doing? Oh, you still teaching the safety and you don't have at least a safety bag in your car or one in your house? You playing with me because you don't went to concerts, you don't went to the movies, you've done all of the things to entertain yourself. And how much more has to happen in the world right now for us to see? Maybe we should start putting some things because FEMA ain't coming.
That part.
The popo ain't coming.
That part.
So that is really what, like, if there's anything I could give your community or our community today, y'all, let's be as much into safety as we are into being sexy, and we'll be okay.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that's facts. Excuse me, but you definitely hit on a lot of key subjects, man. And it's so funny because I see stuff and I do my best to not be online on social media often at all, but sometimes I do, do my little drive-by. I call them drive-by where I check in. And even just in a little bit of time that I do, I see a lot of ratchetness, man. It'd be all kind of bullshit going on. But I say all that to say there's a lot of people who don't give a damn about being safe, protected, none of that. They want to get the best BBL so they can get the best baller, so they can get the best And that's something that we got a lot of work to do. Like we have a lot of work to do on that.
I don't need no brothers flexing a Bentley. Where your bunker at? Let's swap out okay, so yes, a Bentley is sexy. Look, you drop all that money on a metal car that can give you from one place A to B.
That's a liability.
Okay, that's great. We figured out how to live a luxurious life. The white man done stripped us of all the things, and we feel that once we get a bag, we got to have high luxury. I get it. We got to have name brands. I get it. But really, none of those people are going to come through in a clutch for you. Those companies, when you are not safe, they're not thinking about you. So you can still get a vehicle that'll get you from A to B. That's not a luxury vehicle, but it's actually you okay with it getting beat up. It's supposed to do the dirty work. We don't want no Bentley. We want a bunker, brothers. Like, you know, and sisters, right? They don't look, I wasn't blessed with a big booty. God gave me a big old heart and a big old mind, right? But this bootyliciousness, this disease where so much focus is placed on a piece of meat, and I ain't even saying that because I ain't got a big booty, just as a social wellness observant, right? Like there's too much emphasis on sexual desire and lust. And a lot of people would get mad at me because they'd be like, you're a prude, you know, we got to have fun. We've had enough fun. We've had enough fun. It is okay for us now to shift the gears. And you feel real fun when you're safe. But when you're not safe, that's not real fun. That might be an intoxicated fun, a misguided fun, but it's not authentic fun. Everybody has the best fun when we feel safe and we're secure. Everything else is usually, you know, a facade and you nervous because you know you're doing something risky. So we really got to shift, right? Like as melanated people, we mold and shape what culture will do all around the world. So if we said, okay, we know how to party, we know how to pop bottles, we know how to buy the high best hair, we know how to get the biggest booties, we know how to look young, like I said, all those things. What are we going to learn how to do next? Where will the culture take us next? And it's going to have to be us intentionally. We was intentional about all of our styles and our fashion. We got to be intentional about our safety. So I'm going to keep saying it over and over again. Replace being sexy all the time with safety all the time. And the culture will explore. We will have content creators, you know, putting information out. That can be the shift. That can actually be cool because everybody want to be safe.
Yeah, that's real. And so when it comes to this bag, right, because I know living where I live in Florida, we always got to be prepared, especially during hurricane season. But how do you recommend putting together this bag? Because I know for me, I feel like some of the most vital, important things, you need to have water, you need to have candles, you need to have batteries, you need to have matches, you need to have, you know what I'm saying, lighters. You damn sure better have some weapons, whether you got machetes, you got AR-15s, you got choppers, you got 38s, you got 45s, 44s, shotguns, you name it. You got to have them things. So, you know, it's a lot that I would recommend that we should have when we talk about this safety bag. But from you being someone who has taught this, you know, for a while now, what would you recommend are like the top 5 or the top 10 items that we would need to have in these safety bags so we can make sure that, let's just say, hypothetically, because a lot of people keep saying about the grid going down, no power, no electricity, I get it, and it is a possibility. However, what do we need to focus on to be our most intricate, or I should say our most valuable resources that we can kind of put it to the side now and start to get ready for that so-called doomsday or for that day that we might not have no power?
Right. You know, it's funny because people try to overcomplicate putting a safety bag together. Sometimes it baffles me often when people are like, well, what do I put in there? And I'm like, again, we got to take that same determination to figure out what we need the way we do when our favorite comedy show is coming to town. Of course, you need water, you need food, you need clothes. Like that's just what you need in life. So in a crisis, you want a fresh pair of clothes. You want to have a pair of kicks. Of course, you want to have some fire. You want to have a knife. Literally, it's like you going camping. So when you put your safety bag together, when you ask me what's the basis things, all the things that you would take going camping, that's pretty much what you would take. It's not that deep. Now, of course, everybody's bag is going to be customized a little differently. What an elder safety bag is going to look like is going to be different from an infant's. What an infant safety bag is going to look like is going to be different for a 17-year-old girl, right? Everything is going to be, you know, diversify based off of your particular needs. Now, what I would say is once you start building that up and you get the basics, y'all can go Google that, Google all of those things. You can figure out what to put in. They got safety bag lists all over the place. I would say get a water purifier, right? Where it's like a straw, it's a water straw. So that way, if you can't physically carry water with you, if you got a nearby pond, you can use that purifier, but that don't last forever. So what I tell people all the time is, number one, get your safety bags together, but number two, get the safety awareness shift that you need to have. When I prepare for not having anything, I prepare as if there is no electricity. So all my safety kits and bags and plans, I'm not writing them with the assumption that I'm going to have electricity. I'm not even writing them with the assumption that I'm going to have a generator or a battery. You should have one if you have the means, but not everybody's going to be able to get a generator or some kind of backup battery. So really, if you're trying to shift your mind for real, and not depending on the grid of electricity, it really is making it sure you have everything in tow that you would need if you were to be out in the wilderness for 4 to 5 days. And so you could have different sizes. So like for me, I got 2 grab and goes right now ready to go. So if something were happening, I was having to jump in my car, I would have one for me and one other person. But then inside your main house, you have a larger kit. So, when you see the big oversized Tupperwares, you just put that in the garage. You put everything in there that you would need if your electricity and everything went out in your house. Now, if you want to go a step further and be fancy and get the extra amenities, right? You could do that. You can get your generator. You can get your solar batteries. You can do all those things. You can go down that whole rabbit hole. I'm not going to play like y'all don't know how to find it. It just has to be valuable. It's not that it's not there. It just has to be valuable and important, just like going to work every day is. And you can chip away at it. So you got that 2 go bags. I got that ready. Then I got my home kit that if for some reason I can't use my bags, or maybe Papa got to run by himself and go pick somebody up, I'm gonna send him with them 2 bags. I got my own kit in my actual house that doesn't leave, and I check that. Then I got one in the trunk of my car, because a lot of the times you can get stranded in your car somewhere. Did I do all this overnight? No, I didn't do it overnight. Man, anytime I'm at the Big Five and they got a sale at the sporting goods place, I always go into the camping sections because something always gonna be in sale. Right. And you're always going to need it. So you could just throw it in your bag. So people are very impressed when I do presentations. And because all I do is bring my trunk bag and I just open up, and it's like a clown car. You ever see how it's a little teeny car, but all these clowns come out of it? Baffled because they're like, oh my gosh, I would have never thought to have zip ties. I would have never thought to. Zip ties cost $1 at the dollar store. How many times have you gone by that bootleg little section in the dollar store with the little cars and the stuff for to clean your car? They got big zip ties that can go around wrists and arms, because maybe you don't want to hurt nobody, but you do want to restrain them. Maybe you got to catch a wild animal because you do need to eat some chicken and you're not a vegan and you got to catch that thing, right? Like there's so many different scenarios that you can play in your head. But I feel comfortable with that. One of the best compliments that I ever had was one of my homegirls. And she was like, man, and it was so off guard. I didn't even recognize what was coming. She was like, one thing I know when I'm with you is I'm going to be safe. And that was one of the biggest compliments. Like, I've had people tell me I'm physically beautiful, tell me I love your energy. All those are wonderful praises. But for somebody to be like, and not talk about the emotional save. She was like, I know at the least you took enough boxing to put them paws on somebody if you need. And you packed enough for me. So no matter where we go, I know that when I'm safe, if we stranded on the side of the road or we stuck in this house, I got some basic things in tow. So that's the shift that I would say a person can take, is just understanding that it's not an overnight thing. You can learn just like you learn anything else, your favorite lyrics to your song. You know what I'm saying? Just with repetition and being curious and interested and looking it up, you can get everything you need. And like I said, we ain't giving no more red bottoms. I ain't never got no red bottoms. Let me stop acting like somebody gave me some red bottoms. But just the high ticket stuff, or even the small cheap stuff that we spend on endlessly. What we want to take that money now and start putting that towards getting safety bags. Your babies all should have safety bags. I got a workbook on my website called Super Safety Heroes. So it's a workbook, it's a coloring book, it's an activity book, and it's for young people, because if they start checking, you ever had a young person check you like, mommy, you need to put your seatbelt on, daddy, you need to put your seatbelt on. So if we teach the kids and not just make it like they're separate from us, they need responsibilities. Hey, your job is if a person comes to the back door and they don't look like family, you go to that kitchen drawer, you blow that whistle that I got in there, and don't play with that whistle. That's not the play whistle, that's the emergency whistle. Right. So those are certain things that we can put in place in like family planning, right? So we have our safety bags, and if you real fancy and you balling, you got your bunkers, you got your storage unit with stockpiles and things like that. But you can also shift it into other areas too, right? Because everybody has a different role in safety. Like not everybody is going to be good at the same thing. So as we start figuring out and having our own supplies, we need bartering. Bartering is a safety tool. Bartering is a safety tool that keeps you being a victim from, right, depending financially on your oppressor for something that they never intended to give you. Money is not what we need. Resource is what we need. Money is a tool that this society has decided to use for us to exchange. And then that gives them the ability to change the value. But guess what? Me needed some carrots and you needed some beans and rice and we got it. We don't need the money. We need the resource. So the next thing is to shift from, you know what I'm saying, having the basic needs met in a crisis or in a shut-in to what do I have an abundance of, or am I skilled at, that I can use as a value to exchange with somebody who also may be going through a crisis, or just not a crisis, just a shift in what we got going on in society, right? It's not always this gloom doomsday that's going to hit you. It could just be, hey, there's no gasoline for 3 months. Right. And then things are going to change and operate differently. So when you start getting into bartering, you think about your skills, you think about the products you have, and then lastly, you think about what you can grow. Those are the things that you really focus on when you're getting into bartering culture. What skill set do you have? What product that you can make, or what you can grow? And if you start thinking about that and actually making it a hobby when you're bored, or you're not going to be scrolling no more because it's stupid to be on the phone all day, every day when you got things to do. I had to tend to the chickens today. That was amazing. I just now started dealing with chickens. They're like dogs. It's very simple. So I know I can take care of the chickens. That's something that's on my list, right? Whether you eat chicken or not. The castings that come from the chicken go into the garden. So even if you're a vegan and a vegetarian, you need chickens in your ecosystem, right? So really looking at, okay, what is this village nature style of living going to look like and be like? And am I going to be of value? Is a big booty or a big Bentley gonna have value in that? Nah,
not a damn thing.
No, it's not. It's not. What can you sow? What can you create? What can you make? Yeah, entertainment is cool, but in the beginning, we ain't got no time for fun and dancing. We're gonna be building something. Once we do our work, we can have our fun, and that's when the entertainers come in. But we know how to entertain. We don't know how to maintain our safety. And so that's what I really want to start teaching people more and more, and doing. What does a bartering shop look like? How do you do an assessment of yourself? You might be a great organizer, and you be like, well, I don't know how to grow nothing, Miss Mariana. I don't know how to do this or that. If you know how to organize things, go in there and do that closet and do them pantry where I got all them herbs drying. If that's a skill set that you know how to do, you could do that for everybody. Right. So looking at the small, soft skill sets, the life skill sets, right, and the talents and gifts that Creator just downloaded into you, that is what you need to start sharpening right now. To where you could do it with your eyes closed, and then you use that, and that's your prosperity. That's your prosperity.
That's a real thing. I love it. I loved all of it, but I love how you highlighted bartering, because I've been doing that for a minute now. So it's like there's so many different things that, just like you said, I have skill sets where there's a lot of things that I do, but there's people that do things that I need help with too. You know what I mean? So shout out to Millie, because like that's my Reiki healer. So I got to go get, tuned up, get my attunement. You know what I'm saying? Healers need to be healed too. So I got to go to her for that. I do stuff that she don't do, so I could do that, you know what I'm saying? Barter her. Shout out to Woonab. I barter with her. Shout out to SCB. I barter with her, you know what I'm saying? So it's like bartering gets me a long way. Hell, my loctician, I barter with her. You know what I mean? So it's like, because I do things that, we all have to, you know what I'm saying? We all have gifts, and we all have talents, and we all have skills that are valuable. So for
Right.
me, I don't even care about the money, because to me, I know that this person's skill set is worth everything that I'm willing to give them for
I
mine. And we're
say.
gonna, you know what I'm
I
saying?
say.
That's
No,
the
that's
thing out like
real.
that.
That's real
Yes,
because
sir.
people who have a lot of money in this society get a lot of admiration, right? Even
Yep.
for those of us that's out here and we got our hustles and we got our entrepreneurialism, right? The whole mogul, right? That's like the thing. Everybody wants to be well known. In a minute, ain't nobody gonna care about how many followers you got. In a minute, look what they just did to that other platform, and everybody going crazy because they act like they don't know how to make income now.
Which one? TikTok?
Yeah, that cyber titty that they gave to people to making all of their life sitting up in the house and running around making content all day. No diss to content creators, because I am one. But
Me
that
too.
can't be your only and mainstream of
No.
income.
I
If
learned
that's
that
your
from dealing with
mainstream
this
of
same
income,
one we on right
who
now.
owns that platform?
Hmm.
The same person who's the cousin of FEMA. None of them is going to save you. So
Yeah.
again, this whole thing, us being focused on being sexy all day and well-known and popular, none of that means nothing in your micro community when stuff starts to fall down. And again, there ain't no ordering off of TikTok. There ain't no ordering off of Amazon. When things get to that point, which is unimaginable because we're so spoiled as people living here, especially in America, always living with the right access, so much access, right?
Yeah.
In a minute, nobody gonna care about all of that superficial stuff. If anything, those things will be replaced by robots.
Yeah.
So when they start slapping chocolate skin on these little silicone skins and putting big booties on these robots and program them to act like Keisha because they done studied your algorithms for the last 20 years, and they can make black people through making them look like robots, in a minute, you ain't gonna want all that. You're gonna want to know who is real. In a minute, we are going to be really understanding what that sacred script means is thou shalt know the real from unreal. So you don't want, if anything, we're going to go the opposite. It's going to, the real focus is not going to be about everybody knowing you. It's going to be about exclusivity. Not 5 billion people liking me and calling me queen. Am I a real queen activated in my community with skills and leadership and things to offer when crisis or when shift is upon us? That's queening. That's queening. We got queen, this little trending concept because it sounded good and it sounded better than bitches and hoes. But really, you don't give yourself the title queen. The community and the village gives you that title. Your family gives you that title through succession of passing down the responsibility. So we got to really, really shift how we look at the culture, pop culture, which is run by Black people, melanated people. So when we start to shift the culture, if we start saying, yo, what's fly and what's dope is bartering, trading, not wearing ice on my neck that was taken by brothers and sisters who lost their arms and their heads in Africa to give us these diamonds. That's Black. We got to make that super played out. We got to really praise these brothers when they buy a bunker, when they buying supplies, when they're buying up community centers to be shelters for the community. We don't need to fill up concerts with 5,000 people right now. We need to fill up shelters in spaces that our brothers and sisters can go to so they will be out of the way. And if you can't do that, at least do it for yourself and your own family, right? So I think that if we start making safety the conversation always, if it ain't safe, it ain't cool. Bruh, doing this risky behavior, you got to be that Black man that's strong, that calls out another brother when you see them engaging in risky behavior. Look, bruh, I love you, I care about you, but that ain't it no more. Dipping in every honey unprotected and making babies out here just because you fly, it ain't no more. Girl, going out all the time and being lusted after, that ain't it no more. And it's not even safe, girl. They trafficking you left and right. So we got to start making high risk behavior in the name of a luxury, an illusion, something that's popular. And it takes us in the conscious community literally bringing safety awareness and crisis prevention into the conversation. And the best way to do it is just do it yourself first. You ain't got to actually tell nobody nothing. They'll be impressed. And if they are actually looking at what you're doing, they will come to you and ask, hey, man, how do I start a safety bag? Hey, so people who are serious, inquire. They seek it out. You don't have to preach to everybody and teach to everybody what safety is. I used to get so hurt because I felt like my friends and family weren't listening. If it ain't for them, it ain't for them. But I guess what? If they don't do their part, I'm not responsible after I taught them if they didn't carry their load and they don't have nothing to bring to the table. I want to have a benevolent spirit, but in certain situations, there's just going to be, we can't take pedophiles with us to the little encampment. We can't take people that's addicted to crack or alcohol.
No.
I love my people, but that's a cancer in a situation where you're already at risk.
Yeah.
Right. So
Oh
we
yeah.
have to start looking at who is in my inner circle. Do I
Yeah.
have a whole bunch of party girls and fuck boys around me all the time?
Yeah.
Has my life become being so popular and fun and cool that I don't have nothing that I'm locked in, on that I
Mhm.
could barter and trade and use if this TikTok or this club goes away? We got to
Yeah.
start making safety so powerful and so basic in our survival, because it's
Yeah.
not going to be fighting the white man every day. It's going to
Mm-mm.
be securing ourselves and our own confidence to preserve ourselves. That is our spiritual obligation
Yeah.
to our flesh, to
Yeah.
this earthly body. Yeah.
That's fact. Yeah. And there's another thing, I don't know if we hit it or not, but the importance of like growing our own food, right? Having
Mhm.
the proper seeds, having the proper nutrients to put into the grass, having the proper, saying, like all those things, they all go hand in hand. Like even what you said, like with the birds, like how many people know how to deal with birds? How many people know how to handle birds? Because okay, if it comes time where there's no stores open, you can't go to Publix or you can't go to Walmart or wherever to buy that bird that you got in that little freezer in that nice pack, then what
Come
you gonna
on.
do? Do you
Come
know how
on.
to handle one? Can you grab one? Can you, what I'm
Do
saying, do
your
what you got to
kids
do
know
to
how?
you put one, what I'm saying, do what you got to do
Do
to
your
pluck the feathers,
children? Do your
there's a
children know
lot.
how to be in the earth without having a heart attack because they're not plugged into a device?
Oh,
Let me
yeah.
say this real quick.
Yeah.
If y'all don't get them children off of the addiction, if you guys do not get your children dealing with these device addiction, they will not make it in the new world. Period. Period. Right? I don't care if you're telling yourself, oh, it's an educational device. You better figure out how to educate your children without a device. I don't care if you say, oh, it has all my apps and it makes my life convenient. At the end of the day, if we don't get these kids and ourselves from being glued to these devices and getting out into nature, learning how to be with grass, learning how to plant things, learning how to deal with animals, if they're too scared of that, but they're okay with being fresh meat online for people in the name of wanting to be popular, we will lose them. So it is our job to start getting into nature and getting into practices, even if we don't like nature. This is not about what you like. This is about survival and just being able to have the skill set, because we have people who go to work every day who are homeless living out of their cars. So this isn't even about some big meteor coming out of the sky. This is about really being focused on the reality that we see around, not what we want America to be, not what we want the world to be, but what we're going through in this particular incarnation on this planet. So please take a time and do your digital detoxes. Take the time to reintroduce your children to board games and do it with them. Don't just take it away from them, their crack away from them, and you don't want to give your crack up. You got to give up the crack with these children so they can get back to being in tune with their energy, with conversation, with healthy things that are not dependent on a device.
Yes, sir. Now that's a big one. Like that is a real big one, because I'm telling you, some of them be like they ready to fight. You try to take a phone from some of these children, they be about ready to fight. Like for real,
They
for
do
real. It's
fight.
crazy to me. Yeah.
They
Oh
hurt
yeah.
people.
Yeah.
They have
Teachers and
places in Japan and other places where, just like people go to rehab for drugs and alcohol, they are going to rehab for digital devices. And these people are willing to take themselves from this planet because
yeah.
of that's how psychologically attached they are programmed. And that is
Yeah.
our children. So if
Yeah.
we can see these people going to institutions like that now, some of these babies grew up with a phone in their hand, not blocks, not
Yeah.
toys, a phone. So if we
Yes.
do not get them to digitally
Tablet, yeah.
detox, right? Adults and everybody making money off of the digital world and being digital moguls, and children who are constantly addicted to what it's doing. I saw a video and it showed how the human body is going to evolve simply based on cell phone usage. Number one of the things is the neck is going to start extending like an ET neck. So our
Wow.
necks are going to get longer, right? You know,
Mm.
when you see sisters with the rings, our
Yeah.
necks are going to look like that without a ring on them, right?
Wow.
Second, the thumb is going to start extending. Why? How do we use our thumbs? So the
Yeah.
thumbs are naturally, just over time, they're going to start becoming very long. Another thing, our eyes are going to get bigger and they're going to start to come together closer. Why? Because we're always looking at a phone close to our face. So we got to understand too, our vision is going to start going because we're constantly on a device that has certain lights that are strategically designed to engage with how you think and process information a certain way.
Yeah.
So all of these things, it just showed like this really morphed person, right?
Yeah.
Just like when we see evolution of men, you know, at other times. And I was like, oh, we're going to be ugly. We're going to look like ETs with big booties, right? And messed up, crazy makeup on. And we're going to look like some kind of Eeyore or, you know, something really strange, like a monster. I mean, people, we starting to look like monsters right now. So the best way to not become a monster through digital hypnosis, the best way to not become a monster between, you know, addiction to beauty and sexification is to get in nature. The one thing that drops immediately is the cortisol. So when we go outside and we spend time with nature, immediately we're not acting like, you know, we're addicted. We start to, our heart rates change. There's so much that happens. And that's what we'll be. We will be having to force to come back to nature again and live with her, respect her. And that's when we start to get a grip with Father Time. But right now, we so addicted to our devices. We're so addicted to our sexuality and how we want to define it, how we want to feel it, how we want to be it. There's a lot of emphasis on over sexualizing our attention. And that is survival energy. So I just think that right now, if we start looking at, even with the kids, making sure we understand how difficult this will be for them, because they don't be going outside to play even.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. It's a huge
detox. Think about their safety.
Huge detox. You know, and even still, even let's say the ones that do want to, it's so much of a virus and parasitical predatory, you know what I'm saying, system that's in place. Like we got to be very conscientious of how we even let them do that, you know, and keep a bird's eye view on them with doing that.
These kids are falling in love with AI. They done programmed, they done found something that figures out what you like through your algorithms and everything. And now they got boyfriends and girlfriends. They don't have no social skills. They stay on with a device, and behind it is somebody who runs that platform, learning all their human thinking behavior patterns. So they're not physically going outside, but they're physically not making relationships. Even kids now, they think they're friends in adults. We're not just gonna say kids, but a lot of people think they're friends because somebody has mutually followed each other. Because we like to stalk each other. We think that those are our friends, and those are not our friends. So a lot of people have no social skills. I've worked with students and adults all around the world. And when I tell you, one of the things that I know the cell phone is really making us slow down in terms of our human growth and development is our incapacity to learn how to function in relationships. That's why everybody's teaching about mental health, because nobody know how to deal with each other. We break down emotionally all the time. It's so real.
And something else that I wish I'd had mine in here. I don't have them with me now, but I like what you said about the phones, because there is a lot of those rays that are being sent out throughout any of these devices, whether it's your television, your laptop, your computer, your desktop, your phone, whatever it is. So they sell these glasses. I bought mine off of Amazon, which I don't want to plug them, but I bought mine offline. But they're Blu-ray blockers, and like I wear them, you know, pretty much throughout the day. Whenever I'm doing work on the computer, the only time I don't wear them is when I'm podcasting. But I think I'm gonna start rocking them then too, because it blocks.
Man, you better make that call. Where them blue blockers? Where them blue blockers?
I'm about to go grab them. Matter of fact, I'm gonna go grab them for real, because when I tell you, I felt the huge difference, like from the time, because I work on the computer a lot. So when I started wearing them, I feel a huge difference and shift with my energy, my mentality, my mind, like everything, because I know for a fact it's like going to war with a bulletproof vest on. You know what I'm saying? It's like they can't get through to the flesh because you got the vest on. So that's what these glasses are for the eyes. And you know the eyes is the gateway to the soul, right?
It's an appropriate uniform.
Yes,
sir. And again, it's safety, awareness, and crisis prevention. So that's what I mean. Like when we're talking to our friends and stuff like that, when we give them wisdom, I think a lot of the times when people are giving wisdom, we're always giving wisdom from a space of spirituality, right? Wisdom from our experience. But I think sometimes when we're giving wisdom, if we always center giving wisdom to people through safety, awareness, and crisis prevention, nobody can really debate you on that, right? People could debate you on what your spiritual belief is. People could debate you on what their emotions and what their feelings are, but people really can't debate on like basic needs when it comes to safety, awareness, and crisis prevention. So I think a lot of the way we can start getting the conversations going closer to, right, safety, awareness, and crisis prevention is every time you have a conversation, just bring it back. Is that safe? Is that safe for you physically? Is that safe for you mentally, emotionally? Is that safe for you financially? right? Posing those questions when we're talking to each other and dealing with each other, right? Is different than giving somebody advice and telling them what they should and shouldn't do. If somebody got their mind made up, they don't want nobody to tell them nothing different. I don't want nobody to tell me different, but give me the choice and the option. So when I introduce safety, awareness, and crisis prevention to people, I'm always trying to get to them to think, how safe is this? How risky is this? Right. And a lot of times people are smart. They'll figure it out, but they just need somebody without guilt and shame to help them do the assessment on some of the decisions. If we ask, is that safe for you? Or what is the consequence and the risk of that? A lot of the times people can come to their own conclusion. We're human beings, we're smart, even the ones that aren't so smart. Like we can come to our own conclusion, but we just need it to be presented instead of you should do this or you shouldn't do that or a judgment of this. Just allow someone the option to just ask themselves, man, what is the risk of that? And if they care, they will make a change and they'll do something different. If they don't, they'll continue on their same program. And after that, it's none of our business what they do with that information.
Yeah. Yeah, that's facts. Look, I ran off and grabbed them too because they make it. I'm telling you,
and you look so smart. Look at Brother Malcolm. Look at Brother
yes,
Malcolm. You put your hand
yeah,
up
man.
like
listen,
Brother Malcolm.
by any means and all means
There
necessary. Goddamn it, we're gonna get these safety precautions together, and we're gonna have these strategies for these spiritual preservation.
We see the blue bouncing off and you just pushing it away, resisting it.
I'm telling you, it's a real thing, like for real. And I had to get it because shout out my boy Q, this brother who taught me a lot
Q,
about.
give me some glasses, Q.
Man, listen, so it's a real thing.
Super duper blue blockers too.
Listen, they work, man. They work for real. Like I said, I really feel a huge difference, like in my energy, like my mind, like everything. Like I could tell that it's blocking those rays, and I don't know how many of us realize how detrimental those rays are to us. But they're very harmful, you know what I'm saying? Especially when we're watching TV or we're in front of the TV or the computer all the day, excuse me, all the time, all day, every day, or even the phones. It's very harmful rays that are being shot out into our minds that, you know what I'm saying, is really getting into that. So
even there's so much going on in the sound and everything we're around too. So like people be laughing at folks when we be rocking our little singing bowls, but that's a quick way to check your frequency right there. That's a really quick way with all the things going through this, you know, atmosphere that we can't see, but it's still impacting our brain waves. It's still impacting our emotions. Like all of those things are real. So another safety thing spiritually would be to also have your sound bowls, have your binaural beats on deck, have your drum on deck. Those are quick vibrational things you can do with sound, right? To operate as a repellent to all of the things that's coming in. And so I just think when we're talking about, you know, the title of today, right? Like our spiritual responsibility, our spiritual obligation, right? To personal preservation. What we're really talking about is number one, safety awareness and crisis prevention. And number two, what we're talking about is the responsibility that we have to shift the culture to it. Nobody's going to do that for us. People who have an oppressive nature about them, they're not going to help us to preserve ourselves. That's against the nature of what they're built to do or trying to do. But it's our job to take the culture, to take pop culture and really say like, yo, we talking about risk levels. Now we're talking about assessment of what we have and what we get in reciprocity, right? No more overspending and making over sexuality like the focus of everything. Like, come on, y'all. Like the reason why the 90s was cool in hip hop is because even if there was Uncle Luke doing his thing, there was just as much everything else. So it was a full holistic representation. Right now, we just played out on trying to look rich and be sexy. So number three, let's turn the need to be sexy and the desire to be found as attractive and sexy. Let's replace sexy with safety. If we do those, everything else, our curiosity will lead us to all the resources, y'all. You can go online right now and download how to build a safety bag, how to build a safety kit, how to design an exit plan for your family if you need to lead to another area. What are your meeting places? Like, this isn't new. There are Black preppers all over YouTube, survivalists. I'm building my homestead now. People teaching you how to live off the land and making it look cool and fly. Like, we just got to make it look fly. And that's what we can do more than telling people and over revolutionizing people and fear propaganda and pumping people. I'd be scared of some of these religious groups. A lot of the Black religious groups, a lot of the melanated religious groups, they going so hard and gang banging on who came first, who got the bloodline, where it came from, what script. Like, that is so crazy to me. We have no time to debating off of our faith. Our faith should empower us to be able to work together for the basic denominator of survival, which is safety awareness and crisis prevention. So all that energy we putting into over intellectualizing and over spiritualizing, we need to smooth it out, y'all, and make sure that we hit all corners with the peanut butter and the jelly. Because now we're a little oversaturated in certain areas that are popular or make us feel good. And we really need to get on this crisis preparedness. We really need to get on this homestead living. We really need to get connected with earth and learning how to live as if the devices are not there.
Yeah, no, that's facts. And, you know, it's one of those things I feel like it's better to go back to the future, you know, for us to unlearn and relearn, because we need to unlearn this the fake. Okay, I'm gonna use shout out to Professor Kaba. He'll be back in a couple weeks, family. So I definitely
shout out to Master Vibration 13.
Yep, shout out to SCG came through and showing love, man. So
that's my sis. She hooked us up. We up in here because of her.
Yes, sir. That's facts. And I'm rocking my my organ too, so I had it tucked in.
I know that's right. Wait, hold on. Let me pull up.
I got that thing on me now. I got that thing on me now. I got that thing on me now. I do got it on me.
Let's set it in my lap of a room right here. Look, we flexing it real quick.
Yeah, that thing tough too. But now, shout out to Professor Copper though, because like we need to unlearn and relearn. We need to go from this artificial intelligence to go back to the ancestral intelligence.
Absolutely.
So let's get rid of the fake ass AI with the artificial intelligence, and let's tap back into the original, you know what I'm saying? The ancestral intelligence, and let's do that across the board.
Yes, Baba Kaba is a very valuable person. He's a dear person in my life. You know, anytime I get an opportunity to talk with him and get wisdom with him and just have him pour into me, he really, really is a very down-to-earth approach, because I think what is so valuable about him is that he reaches from the past, but he makes sure to show us how to apply the information today. And I think sometimes, again, when we over intellectualize things, when we over spiritualize and we forget, like we need those tools to help us maintain in our physical life that we asked to come here to learn and fetch for. Like we really have to remember not to get so lost in the ether that we fail our responsibility for what our deeds are that are supposed to be done, and what we're supposed to repair in ourselves for repair our souls while we're having this earthly experience. And he does that. He'll teach us this, but then he'll break it down and show us how to operationalize it. He has been a very big inspiration in terms of how I teach. Also, my Baba Imhotep Al-Kabalan, who transitioned this year, he is also another person, you know, who has molded and shaped me and my understanding of who I am. And it's not just about romanticizing what was of the past, right? Even the root word of romanticize is scary. We don't need to be romanticizing. We need to be being in the moment, the example. And our ancestors all worked with nature. They worked with herbs. They bartered. They exchanged. They created their own electricity. They purified their water. All of these things are things that are in our ancestral memory. And the only way to survive the way they're trying to recreate this next world order is just to return to our ancient ways. And we got to make that as cool as can be.
Yeah. Well, we're doing it. We're doing it here. We're definitely doing it in these Astray streets for sure. And Professor Carbon, man, he's one of the realest I've ever met, man. Because for him to be where he is, who he is, and you know what he's done, what he's accomplished, and what he's still doing, he never, ever, from the very first time, the very first day I ever met him, he never changed. He was the same dude, that same humility. That same welcoming, warm, you know what I'm saying, embracing spirit. Like, and I wish to God I could say that about everybody, but I can't, unfortunately. But I'm grateful that I can say it about him. Like, he ain't never changed. I'm talking about from the first time I met him till now, it's been identical. You know what I mean? I look at him like a father / big brother, uncle, whatever you want to call it. I love him because I love how real he is. But he does his thing, but he never creates any type of separation factor like he's better or above. You know what I'm saying? I do my best to try to do the same, because ain't nothing better about me than nobody else, but there's ain't nothing better about nobody else than me either. You feel me? Like, if you didn't create all of this, then we all equal. Period. I don't give a fuck if you work trillions, billions, millions, whatever. You ain't better than me. And if I'm worth trillions, billions, millions, whatever, I ain't better than you. So if we can just keep it funky and keep it a buck and keep it humble, Everybody
Right.
gonna be all
We
right.
all made from the same stardust. Some of us just doing what
Listen,
we got to do to twinkle and shine. Some of us ain't. And I ain't responsible for what the people who ain't doing what they supposed to be doing.
and
I
who
reflect
trying to?
light. So if you working on your shine and your sparkle and your stardust,
Hey,
then I know what I reflect. So it's
yeah,
gonna bounce. When I'm
there you
around
go.
other people ain't working with their stardust, they don't know how to sprinkle life yet. They be sad, they be depressed all the time.
Yeah,
Even on my worst day when something goes wrong, my twinkle is never gone. And I think
yes,
that's what
sir.
we're talking about when we're talking about Baba Kaba and people who are just authentic. People who
Yeah,
are truly
yeah,
authentic, there's a core of their
yeah.
heart and their soul that stays the same. Maybe their
Oh yeah,
experiences might
yeah,
change their,
yeah,
self-awareness, their
yeah.
wisdom, but I love that. And that's something that I don't think everybody's going to have the opportunity to experience
Mm-mm,
authenticity in this, on
mm-mm.
this planet. I don't think that's everybody's assignment. Some
But
people come here and they never learn how to be their authentic self, and
and
they
you know
never
why?
learn how to be happy.
And I'm gonna tell you why. Because they never learned to know thyself, or even made an
Exactly.
attempt to learn to know thyself.
Exactly.
Because if you
Yes.
learn to really know yourself, if you learn to embrace your flaws, your downfalls, your cons, you know what I'm saying? All the
Right.
things that are ugly, all the things that I always talk about the diamond and the coal, like, or the caterpillar and the butterfly. We all got to go through the cocoon. Period.
Mhm.
If you a diamond, you came in this motherfucker with some coal on you. So in
That's
order for
right.
you to really truly shine that diamond light, you had to strip away and chip down a lot of coal to get to it. So if you
Yes.
didn't get to it, that's because you didn't strip anything away. You know what I'm saying? So
Yes.
therefore, the ones who do, that means they did a lot of work stripping down, getting rid of that coal, you know what I'm saying? They went through that cocoon and they
Yeah.
came out unscathed. Shout out to Kepara, the dung beetle. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? It went
I
through the ball
say.
of dung to unburrow to become the
Yep.
beetle with the wings to transformation to
Yes.
fly.
Yeah.
Like, so you have to go through that. And I think because we're in this pop culture with the microwave mentality and people want to, you know what I'm saying, do this and be that, and the BBLs and the fake locks, that's the thing that really, I don't know why, but it gets under my skin a little bit.
Yeah.
Brothers is now getting weaves like wearing fake locks. Come on, man, go through the process.
Yeah.
Bob went
Yeah.
through the process. Everybody
Right.
who really
Right.
did it went through the process. Like,
Yeah.
to me, that's what the beautiful thing about life is, the process. It's not the
Right.
end all, it's the process, because you had to
Right.
go through that process to get to what everybody else applauds and everybody else looks at as greatness, but they wasn't there when you was doing the work, going through the
Yeah.
process.
Yeah.
So
And also too, let me add to that, not to resist, but to fortify, right? And let me add to that, everybody's process is going to look different.
yes,
So
yeah, I
with
agree.
that, right,
I
with
agree.
recognition that, right, everybody has a process, we also have to remember to check our ego and our heart and our intention and wanting to tell somebody what somebody's process has to look like, right? So for example, if somebody's doing the work, right, and that's something that we kind of say when we're trying to heal ourselves, right? When somebody's doing the work, somebody might have a similar issue, right, or a similar thing that they're working on, but their process might look different. And we have to remember that if we're going to really keep it real, sometimes we can be judgmental because we assume somebody's process has to be the same. And so I think the way we I've learned to do that is to, number one, when I identify my process, make sure to share it, but then be very open and curious about what somebody else's process is, if they're willing to share it, right? Because what happens is we diversify our view on how somebody can get from point A to point B. We open our mind and our heart to understand that we also have unique thumbprints, right? We have unique creative genius. We also have very different processes. And I say that to say that there's been times in life where people would wonder like how I advanced in certain areas, and maybe they worked on the process for a long time, but I'm skating on them. You know what I'm saying? And what it is our process might be a little different, like the tortoise and the hare. Like it didn't say that the hare didn't get there or the tortoise didn't get there. They had their own process. And sometimes we can kind of like create a narrative around what is the best way to go about a process. I know I came to this planet with some things I had to go through and it was stupid.
Oh yeah.
And I know some people was like, why did you allow yourself to have that experience? That part of my process. That's how I got to be this, auntie, queen, mother, sister, friend, goddess, hood sister that I am. Is I had a very unique process. So I say that to say not to rebuttal what you're saying, but to just add dimension and depth to it in a way that we can really keep our heart as light as a feather in understanding that everybody got a different process in their incarnation. The one thing we can be concerned about and looked at is making sure that we are as safe for ourselves and each other as possible while we're going through our processes.
Yeah. No, I agree. And listen, and two things I'm gonna share because I feel like both of them have come through the channel and come through the community. And there was times where I feel like there was times where I had to kind of get into a different type of energy just to kind of keep the peace. But at the same time, also go into a different energy to let people know you're not gonna come here on no bullshit and think that it's gonna slide. So one is for real, but one is there was a time, where we had different guests who were heavy with the America thing, and I'm all for that because let's just say, like you said, the process. So there are different guests and different contributors to the channel who have a whole lot of knowledge and insight and understanding, overstanding, understanding, and understanding of the indigenous melanated people's journey and process here in the Americas. Right. And I respect and salute that because that's something that I personally wasn't privy to. I had to learn from the outside in, you know what I'm saying, versus the inside out. So I do feel like there is a certain stigma or a certain ego or arrogance that comes to certain people in how they distribute or display that type of information or that type of knowledge, where I feel like the process of that could be done better because there's a lot of people who want to know more and who want to get into that. But the way that it's presented, it's almost like, fuck that Africa shit, fuck that, you know what I'm saying, Right. That's what it is. And if you won't know this, then you kind of, so to me, I that kind of came in me a little way because I'm like, but that doesn't make them better. That doesn't make anybody better. And therefore, those who know, because there were people who listened to the channel, there were people who chimed in, there were people who was on the channel, that it was one or the other. And I'm like, why can't it be both? Why can't we both have, you know what I'm saying, both sides of it? Because either way it goes, we're all still products of the same creator. I don't give a damn what part of the world or continent you came into inception on. You're still part of the same universal prime creator. So that's one. But then religion is another one because yes, the channel's African spiritual experience. Yes, we talk about E5. Yes, we talk about Kemetic culture. Yes, we talk about metaphysics. But I don't shun Muslims. I don't shun Christians. I don't shun nobody. I do talk about the Bible, and I feel like it is a weapon of mass destruction. I'm not going to apologize for that. That's my 2 cents. But I don't bash Christians. You feel me? Because there's people who I got in family, people that I work with, people who I do a lot with, who I don't care what your religion is. If we vibe the way we vibe, the energy is the energy, the respect is the respect. It don't matter to me anyways who you pray to or who, none of that. So I say all that to say, I get it. And that's where I take pride in being humble enough to know that it don't always have to be my way. And it don't always have to be what I feel like is the best way either. Because if I'm willing to really go for the trophy, and that's what I try to do, is get the championship, then it don't matter what my teammates praying to. It don't matter who my, teammates sleeping with, none of that. Because as long as we're on the same accord when it gets down to the getting on the get down, and we all coming to win, then that's where I feel like we gotta learn to agree to disagree and learn to love and respect, or at least respect and appreciate other people's authenticity, even if it's different from the authenticity that resides in me.
That's the real. That's the real. That's the real. And I know gang banging when I see it. I know gang bang when I see it. I know when a religious group starts gang banging. I know when a entertainment group starts gang, like we know when people are operating only for their best interest, so much so that they will be divisive with anybody, even if they're not a threat to you. And that's gang banging. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you don't have to overly exert all this energy to make everybody feel like it has to be your way or you're the only form of origin or expression. Like that's whack. This planet is filled with all kind of intergalactic beings. Like we're not all from the same experience. And so when I see people gang banging, even in the name of spirituality, even in the name of religion, I don't give it that much time and attention, because at the end of the day, whatever you call God, whatever language you speak, if the God is really in you, I'm gonna know it by how you talk to me and the way we make each other feel. And that doesn't matter what language or dialects we express it. So to me, all these people talking about God, but then they're so opinionated and hard on other people of every walks and lifestyles and experiences, I don't even listen to them, because they're that goodness of God that should be universal no matter what faith base we observe. Like if that's not present, I don't even want to be your friend. I don't want to be around you. And if I know you would treat another group of people and not specifically me that way, I'm looking at you funny too. So anybody that has that kind of such a harsh opinion on any group of people, even if you don't agree with who they are, but when you want to be disruptive and be destructive, I don't really be having around those kind of people around me. I don't like that.
Right.
Yeah.
I know that's right.
Yeah.
That's a real thing. But I tell you what, with that, I definitely give gratitude and thanks for the wisdom, the understanding, understanding, and you know, the energy, the sheer revolutionary spirit, man. As always, it's definitely something that's a consistent with you. I'm telling you, I remember the very first conversation. I was like, boy, I got to ante up a little bit. But I felt like calling MOP. Boy.
You know what? It's funny because I have a real hyped up side, and then I got just as much of a laid back side. I'm not a Gemini though, but I love Geminis with all my heart. I love some Geminis, but I'm a Leo, and I got 9 houses in Leo. So it's hard for me to not be excited and passionate and playful about, you know, and direct about what I do. But I'm loyal, and I'm loyal to this work. I'm loyal to partnering and working with people such as yourself that can allow even a conversation, provide an entry point for people who want to grow or have a new experience. And I'm just grateful, you know, for my sister Madi for connecting us and for you creating this space. And I'm looking forward to, you know, doing some more work with you. If you want my feisty, excited self to show up, I'll be there.
I say. Absolutely. Listen, I'm gonna tell you, like, look, and I'm gonna respectfully give thanks and gratitude to that because I'm working on taking compliments, but I can't wholeheartedly say that was me, man. That was the ancestors, and I was just blessed, you know, to be obedient and to listen to the call, you know, to listen to the challenge, and you know, to get my ass into making it happen when they told me I don't give a damn because I wasn't ready. I shared that many times. I wasn't ready to do it, but they're like, I don't give a damn about you being ready. You're gonna do it, and that's what it is.
I had a lot of situations like that this year where the creator and the ancestors was like, I know what you had planned, but I was like, oh, okay, here we
go. Yes. I learned that very early in my journey, and I don't want no more of them lessons, buddy. None of them.
But those special little detours that the creator and the ancestors give us unexpectedly, they still somehow lead us to the right place because our heart's in the right place and we're doing the best that we can to be healthy, you know. So I'll go on the rocky road with the creator any day than the smooth road with the devil.
Listen. And that's real, man, because I've had a few of them in the last month or two alone. Like, I'm like, oh wow. And I saw it like after the fact. In the moment, like, God damn, I'm ready to knock some stuff over. But I'm like, in hindsight, a week or two later, when things developed and manifested the way they were supposed to, I'm like, I get it.
Well, you know, the creator got a sense of humor. I think people forget the creator is playful, childlike energy, just as it is every other type of energy. So, you know, sometimes I just got to laugh at the crazy stuff. I'll be like, oh, you want to play? Oh, you playing with me? Oh, you having a good old time now. Okay, let me get out my feelings and play too, because if not, I'm not going to make it through.
Lean to listen. Yes, sir. And we got a shout out to Don Coolio.
Oh, you got a lot of people talking in there.
Them Geminis, man. Hey, shout out to them Geminis, boy. What I'm talking about.
Geminis. Yes, I love you, Geminis.
We in this thing, boy, and there's a lot of us. But that, and you know, it's funny. I come from a pack of lions in Leo, so that.
Oh, so you used to this madness,
man? Listen, pops, grandma, like, look, I come from a pack of lions.
Wow,
for real.
Wow. All right, mighty lion. Then you know all about it. We can't help ourselves. We try and we can't.
Yeah, I'm a lion cub, buddy, all the way through. Both parents and grandma. So yeah, definitely a Leo tribe for sure. But nah, that's what's up, man. So listen, if you got anything you want to leave with the tribe on the way out, I definitely give the floor to you, and we'll make it do what it do, and look forward to the next one to come to.
Very good. I would just say that if you are interested in doing some one-on-one coaching with me, you can visit me at missmarianna.today, and you can sign up for a refresh session. A refresh session is a 2-hour session where we do your personal development specifically focused on releasing and addressing some of the issues that are serving as blockage. None of us is above it. We all do it. But sometimes we need a neutral party who is willing to bring in the mental, emotional, and spiritual fortitude necessary to get the support so you can overcome some of those challenges and get some tools, you know, to move forward and create a new experience. If you want to book me for a keynote or a workshop for your organization, for your event, you can also visit missmarianna.today. And then lastly, if you want some tools there, you can go get my workbook called Own Your Shit. It's not very long. It's 50 pages. There's charts, there's graphs. It helps you do a trauma self-assessment assessment to look at what are the next steps you need to take to start motivating in towards a different direction with different behaviors. And then lastly, I have a workbook on there called Super Safety Heroes. And I think that would be very appropriate for you to purchase a copy for a young person in your life. It's a coloring book. It's a workbook. It helps you to get conversations going on how to build a safety bag for your child and also other family members. So those are some resources that I got in all the different areas. And once again, it's just so lovely to be here with you and your community. And hit me up if you need me. I'm your sister in service.
I share. Oh,
Yeah.
no, I appreciate it. And listen,
Peace, brother.
I'm gonna definitely throw a quick, I'm just gonna throw it out there. We're definitely gonna be putting some things together, me and Miss Mariana, along with the other tribe members who have been on the show multiple times, man, because there's a lot more that we have in store, and there's a lot more that's going on that we're gonna tap into, that we're gonna get into, that we can't do on YouTube, but we will do on private channels. So with that, family, I definitely look forward to reaching out to Miss Mariana for us to put those things together. Shout out to I am SEG, and throw her up there. We appreciate you too, Mama. And
that's my sister.
Absolutely, man. And she's definitely been a huge, intricate, part, playing a huge, integral role and part with the tribe as well. Matter of fact, I spoke to somebody today who just had a session with her, I think. So it's like, it's all collective. And it goes back to how I roll. Like, united we stand, divided we fall. I stand on that, and that's what it's about. So it's able to highlight everybody else's skills and powers, superpowers, for us to really become the real X-Men, the real Guardians of the Galaxy that we came here to be. So I don't have no ego. I want the chip. I want the championship. And I'm going to make for damn sure I bring all the energies, at least that I have access to this channel and to this tribe, so we can make sure that we can make it do what it do, babe. We gonna make it do what it do.
Wow. I'm looking for the feature film to come. You got all kind of skill sets, man.
Hey, don't tempt me with a good time. Cause look, being a Gemini, boy, there's a lot of voices going on. They all want to play their role. I gotta keep them all at bay. Hey, sit down somewhere.
Yes, indeed. Very good. Well, let me know when you want me to come back. I'll be here for you, brother. Until next time, peace.
I appreciate it. All right, family. So I'll see y'all in the next episode. As a matter of fact, I think we'll be back this Thursday with Baba Kepler Patel. So shout out to him. I look forward to making it do what it do, and we'll see y'all in the next one, family. We out. Peace.
All right, peace.
Ẹni tó gbàgbé ilé sàpò ìyàpọ̀ tẹ́ǹtẹ́ ní takisa ní tàtàn ò bá padà sílé anítìjàkọ ẹja lọ pé eégún mo ṣe ní gbẹ́rẹ́ ìpàkọ́ forsake not your ancestors and praise your